Hello, and welcome to this episode of Be UnDisturbed. My name is Brady. I'll be your host today. And let me check my settings, make sure we're good. Okay, we can hear me. Yay. Um, Before I get started, I'm eating my lunch. Make sure you guys take time to energize yourself with some good food. And if you're, allowed and not in a place where it's safe to enjoy some beer or whatever your favorite spirit is, but it's a work day, so don't get too swifty. I'm enjoying one of my Auto Rock IPAs, which I made earlier in the summer. I don't know what I did, but it is, as you can tell, ridiculously heady. Wanna become famous by followers? I'm not gonna pay to win. Who is this person? Why ought I kick them? Randomly snooping in on my tasty beer to try to make me get big follows. Um, hmm. Yeah, so super heady. But we will read for about 25 minutes, and after that, we will go ahead and pop out because I, again, don't think anyone will watch, but that's okay. Um, Before I get started, if you are wanting to, you can hop into our Twitch thingy right here. There it is. And then, sorry, not Twitch, Discord. And then, if you want to watch, that's fine. And then our Discord chat's up there. When we get to the end, we'll have some time for questions and comments and discussion if we want to. If not, we will go on about our day. Trying to remember where in the book I left off. We're reading from Epictetus's Philosophy. I think we left off at 19, but before I start that, excuse me, I'm gonna have a bite of the grilled cheese. Super tasty. And cheesy. Something. Okay, so we left off saying, I guess he left off saying we all have worth. It's not right to say I have no worth because we have been given worth existentially. And that knowing that's important. So something like that is what should pass between a teacher and ingenious youth, as it is what does pass. The teacher is a lifeless body, and you are lifeless bodies yourself. When you have had enough to eat today, you sit down and weep about tomorrow's food. Slave. If you have it, well and good. If not, you will depart. The door is open. Why lament? What further room is there for tears? What further occasion for flattery? Why should one envy another? Why should you stand in awe of them that they have much or have placed in power, especially if they be also strong and passionate? What should they do to us? What they can do, we will not regard. What does this concern us that they cannot do? Who then shall still rule one that is thus minded? So they're saying if you focus on, the fact that you are limited in a limited being, then you're going to lament about all the areas where your limit stops. Whereas if you focus on what you can do, you are extremely powerful within your limits. Number 20, seeing this then, and noting well the faculties that you have, you should say, send me, O God, any trial that you will. If I have the power and the means by me to equip myself and honor myself through whatever comes to pass. No, there you sit trembling for fear certain things should come to pass, and moaning and groaning and lamenting over what does come to pass. And then you upbraid the gods. Such meanness of spirit can have but one result, impiety. Yet God has not only given us the faculties by means of which we may bear everything that comes to pass without being crushed or depressed thereby, but like a good king and father, he has given us this without let, or hindrance, placed wholly at our own disposition, without reserving to himself any power of impotent or restraint. Though possessing all of these things free and all your own, you do not use them. You do not perceive what it is you have, what it is you have received, nor whence it comes, but sit moaning and groaning, some of you blind to the giver, making no acknowledgment to your benefactor, others basely giving themselves to complaints and accusations against God. Yet what faculties and powers you possess for attaining courage and greatness of heart, I can easily show you. What you have for upbraiding and accusation, it is for you to show me. He's like calling some people out hardcore right here. That's a big bite. How did Socrates bear himself in this regard? How else than as became one who was fully assured that he was the kinsman of the gods? If God had made that part of his own nature which he served from himself and gave to us, liable to be hindered or constrained by either himself or another, he would have not been God, nor would he have been taking care of us as he ought. If you choose, you are free. If you choose, you need blame no man, accuse no man. All things be at once according to your mind and according to the mind of God. Petrification is of two sorts. There is petrification of the understanding, which is also the sense of shame. This happens when a man obstinately refuses to acknowledge plain truths and persists in maintaining what is self-contradictory. Most of us dread mortification of the body, and would spare no pains to escape anything of that kind. But of mortification of the soul we are utterly heedless. With regard indeed to the soul, if a man is in such a state as to be incapable of following or understanding anything, I grant you we think of him in a bad way. But mortification of the sense of shame and modesty we go so far as to dub strength of the mind. If we were as intent upon our own business as the old fellows at Rome are upon what interests them, we too might perhaps accomplish something. I know that a man older than I am, now superintendent of the corn market at Rome, and I remember when he passed through this place on his way back from exile, what account he gave me of his former life, declaring that for the future, once home again, his only care should be to pass his remaining years in quiet and tranquility. Quote, "For how few years I have left," he cried. "That," I said, "you will not do. But the moment the scent of Rome is in your nostrils, you will forget it all, and if you can gain admission to court, you will be glad enough to elbow your way in, and thank God for it." "Epictetus," he replied, "if you ever find me setting as much as 1 foot within the court, think what you will of me." Well, as it was, what did he do? Ere ever he entered the city, he was met by a dispatch from the emperor. He took it and forgot the whole of his resolutions. From that moment he has been piling one thing upon another. I should like to be beside him to remind him of what he said when passing this way, and to add, how much better am a prophet am I than you. What then? Do I say man is not made for an active life? Far from it. But there is a great difference between other men's occupations and ours. At a glance, theirs will make it clear to you. All day long they do nothing but calculate, contrive, consult, how to wring their profit out of foodstuffs, farm plots, and the like. Whereas I entreat you to learn what the administration of the world is, and what place a being endowed with reason holds therein, to consider what you are yourself, and wherein good and evil consists. Pretty heady there. A man asked me to write to Rome on his behalf, who, as most people thought, had met with misfortune. For having been before wealthy and distinguished, he had afterward lost everything and was living here. So I wrote about him in a humble style. He, however, on reading the letter, returned it to me, and said, "I ask for your help, not your pity. No evil has happened unto me." Scripture instruction is this: to learn to wish that each thing should come to pass as it does. And how does it come to pass? As the disposer has disposed it. Now he has disposed that there should be summer and winter, and plenty and dearth, and vice and virtue, and all such opposites, for the harmony of the whole. Those things are important. Hello, my one viewer. Is this Amanda? Is that you, Amanda, who is viewing? my only faithful viewer. Or is it someone new? I'm checking, but Streamlabs is being a pain in my booty about it. So take another bite. If it's not Amanda watching, go ahead and drop a message to know who you are, and I can say hey. Number 27. Have this thought ever present with thee when you lose an outward thing, what you gain in its stead? And if this be the more precious, say not, I have suffered loss. 28. Concerning the gods, there are who deny the very existence of the Godhead. Others say that it exists, but neither bestirs nor concerns itself or has forethought for anything. A third party attribute to it existence and forethought, but only for great and heavenly matters, not for anything on this earth. A fourth party admits things on the earth as well as in heaven, but only in general, and not with respect to each individual. A fifth, of whom were Ulysses and Socrates, are those that cry, I move not without knowing thy knowledge. And it's a very spring beer. Maybe just because I made it in the spring and it reminds me of spring. The wonderful smells of dirt, things growing, the fresh air. Kind of feels like today. Have you been outside today? It's like 75 degrees, and it's November 9th, and it's already snowed at least once this year. That's ridiculous. Like the breeze coming through literally smells like spring. Where'd my dog go? Leia! I must find the dog. Make sure she hasn't peed on anything. What are you doing up there? What are you actually doing up there? Yeah. Want to go outside? Come on. Outside. Or you can keep your bone right there. That's fine, I don't care. Okay, I return. So, where to leave off? 29. Considering all these things, the good and true man submits his judgment to him that administers the universe, even as good citizens to the law of state. And he that is being instructed should come thus minded: how may I in all things follow the gods, and how may I rest satisfied with the divine administration? And how may I become free? For he is free for whom all things come to pass according to his will, and whom none can hinder. What then is freedom? What then? Is freedom madness? God forbid. For madness and freedom exist not together. But I wish all that I desire to come to pass, and in the manner that I desire. Then you are mad. You are beside yourself. You know not that freedom is a glorious thing and of great worth, but that what I desired at random, I should wish at random to come to pass. So far from being noble, may well be exceeding base. Number 30. You must know that it is no easy thing for a principle to become a man's own, unless each day he maintain it, and hear it maintained, as well as work on it out in life. 31. You are impatient and hard to please. If alone, you call it solitude. If in the company of men, you dub them conspirators and thieves, and find fault with your very parents, children, brothers, and neighbors. Whereas when by yourself, you should have called it tranquility and freedom, and herein deemed yourself like unto the gods. And when in the company of many, you should not have called it a wearisome crowd and tumult, but an assembly and tribunal, and thus accepted all with contentment. This one's much more wordy than the other book I'd been reading. Which was, albeit a modern, not translation, but wording of these things. I'm only on page 12. What, then, is the chastisement of those who accept it not? To be as they are. Is any discontented with being alone? Let him be in solitude. Is any discontented with his parent? Let him be a bad son and lament. Is any discontented with his children? Let him be a bad father. Throw him into prison. But what prison? Where is he already? For he is there against his will. And wherever a man is against his will, that to him is a prison. Thus Socrates was not in prison, as he was there with his own consent. Know what a speck you are in comparison to the universe. That is, with respect to the body, since no respect to reason, you are not inferior to the gods, nor less than they. For the greatness of reason is not measured by length or height, but by the resolve of the mind. Place your happiness in that, where you are equal to the gods. When asked how a man might eat acceptably to the gods, Epictetus replied, if he eats, he can be just, cheerful, equitable, temperate, and orderly. Can he not thus eat accordingly to the gods? But when you call for warm water and your slave does not answer, or when he answers bringing lukewarm, or is not even found to be in the house at all, then not to be vexed or have bursts of anger, is that acceptable to the gods? But how can one endure such people? Slave, will you not endure your own brother? That has God and his forefather, even as a son sprung from the same stock, and of the same high descent yourself. And if you are stationed in a high position, are you therefore forthwith to set up for a tyrant? Remember who you are and whom you rule, that they are by nature your kinsmen, your brother, and offspring of God. But I paid a price for them, not they for me. Do you see whither you are looking, down to earth, to the pit, to those despicable laws of the dead? But to the laws of God you do not look. I guess that one can be compared even to our retail services now. When we are invited to a banquet, we take what is set before us. And were one to call upon his host to set fish upon the table or sweet things, he would be deemed absurd. Yet in a word, we ask the gods to do for what they do not give, and that, although they have given so many things. Asked a man how might convince himself that every single act was under the eye of God, Epictetus answered, do you not hold that all things are bound together in one? I do. Well, and do you not hold that things on earth and things in heaven are continuous and in unison with each other? I do, was the reply. Else how should the trees so regularly, as though by God's command, at his bidding flower? At his bidding send forth shoots, bear fruit and ripen it. At his bidding let fall and shed their leaves, and fold up upon themselves, lie in quietness and rest. How else, as the moon waxes and wanes, as the sun approaches and recedes, can it be that such vicissitude and alternation is seen in earthly things? If then all things that grow, nay our bodies, and thus bound up within the whole, is not this still truer of our souls? And if our souls are bound up and in contact with God, as being very parts of the fragment plucked from himself, Shall he not feel every movement of theirs as though it were his own, and belonging to his own nature? But, you say, I cannot comprehend this all at once. Why? Who told you that your powers were equal to God's? Yet God has placed by the side of each man his own guardian spirit, who is charged to watch over him, a guardian who sleeps not, nor is deceived. For what better or more watchful guardian could he have committed to each of us? So when you have shut the doors and made the darkness within, remember never to say that you are alone, for you are not alone. But God is within in your guardian spirit, and what light do they need to behold what you do? To this God you also should have sworn allegiance, even as soldiers unto Caesar. They, when their service is hired, swear to hold the life of Caesar dearer than anything else. And will you not swear your oath that are deemed worthy of so many more great gifts? And And will you not keep your oath when you have sworn it? And what oath will you swear? Never to disobey, never to arraign or murmur at aught that comes to you from his hand, never willingly to do or suffer aught that necessity lays on you. Is this oath like theirs? They swear to hold no oath dearer than Caesar, you to hold ourselves dearer than all else beside. Got to chew that one over. It's funny because this is actually the beer that started to explode on me. I had probably 20 bottles blow up. It's a freaking mess. However, I was not disturbed. I was mildly surprised. The we went to vacation, and one of the people who went with us, it was like my interesting, curious thought. Okay, so if I married my wife, and my wife's sister married someone, he becomes brother-in-law as well. Does that mean that his dad becomes my father-in-law? That's weird. Anyways, wife's sister's husband's dad came with us on vacation, and he, I mean, we were all there. He is the dude who purchases all of the alcohol that's above 42 proof for the state of Ohio. So, like, if you're in Ohio and you go into a liquor store and you buy something, he's the one who effectively signed the check for purchasing that, and all the stores in Ohio are selling his goods on consignment. And they get commission for selling it, but all the base price comes back to him. So I had pulled out a beer to drink, and it hadn't gotten to pouring it yet, or even opening it. And we were doing this mixer for a whiskey. We had like rye. I don't remember the other kinds. There were like the three base kinds of whiskey that they used to blend. And we were sitting there pouring it. So we have the box open, kind of like the laptop's open right now, and my beer bottle was sitting behind it. So I'm, minding my own business, and I was getting ready to go over there, and he had started to put his sweatshirt on, and as he had the bottle, which was, he was like 4 feet on the other side, so he was like right in front of his bottle. We just hear that it sounds like a shotgun went off. And he was like it sprayed his chest, like just glass all over his chest. And I was, we at first we were like, holy hell, what just happened? And he at first was like, did I just get shot? Like, and he felt himself to make sure he hadn't been wounded or anything. And we, it was just, it was shocking, startling. Almost, he felt like I almost killed him. Like, no hard feelings or anything, but it was like, whoa. We weren't disturbed, but we were definitely shocked. Um, I don't know why. I think it's because I used too much priming sugar, which I mean, I use just as much as I had for everything else for what it says to use. Like, it's like 5 ounces of, it's like an ounce per gallon of the priming sugar. Um, the wine guy at the brewery shop said to do half of that is what he usually does. Oh, hang on, my cat's out back. I have to make sure he doesn't get escaped. He's going into the chicken coop. Last time he went into the chicken coop, the chickens swarmed him and cornered him and started pecking him. It was kind of funny. So back to reading. Number, what's he looking at? 38. How shall my brother cease to be wroth with me? Bring him to me, and I will tell him. But to thee I have nothing to say about his anger. When one took counsel of Epictetus, saying, what I seek is this, how even though my brother be not reconciled to me, I may still remain as nature would have me to be. He replied, all great things are slow of growth. This is even true of a grape or of a fig. If you then say to me now, I desire a fig, I shall answer it needs time. Wait till it first flower, then cast its blossom, then ripen. Whereas a fruit out of the fig tree reaches not maturity suddenly, nor yet in a single hour, do you nevertheless desire so quickly and easily reap the fruit of the mind of man? Expect it not, even though I bade you. Oh, funky names. Epaphroditus had a shoemaker whom he sold as being good for nothing. This fellow, by some accident, was afterward purchased by one of Caesar's men, and became shoemaker to Caesar. You should have seen what respect Epaphroditus paid him then. How does the good Felicion? Kindly let me know. And if any of us inquired, what is Epaphroditus? I hate this guy's name. Epaphroditus. Epaphroditus. Oh my God, Epaphroditus. um, doing? The answer was, he is consulting about so and so with Felicion. Had he not sold him as good for nothing? What had in a trice converted him into a wiseacre? This is what comes of holding importance anything but things that depend on the will. Number 41. What you shun enduring yourself, attempt not to impose on others. You shun slavery, beware of enslaving others. If you can endure to do that, one would think you had become once upon a time a slave yourself. For vice has nothing in common with virtue, nor freedom with slavery. 42. Is it 42? Yes. Has a man been raised on the tribuneship? Everyone that he meets congratulates him. One kisses him on the eyes, another on the neck, while a slave kisses his hands. He goes home to find torches burning. He ascends to the Capitol to sacrifice. Who ever sacrificed for having the right desires? My phone's ringing. I don't know this number. For having conceived such inclinations as nature would have him. In truth, we thank the gods for that, wherein we place our happiness. Anyways, looks like a telemarketer. A man was talking to me today about the priesthood of Augustus. The priesthood of Augustus. I said to him, let the thing go, my sir. You will spend a great deal to no purpose. But my name will be inserted in all documents and contracts. Will you be standing there to tell those that read them that is my name written there? And even though you could now be there in every case, what will you do when you are dead? At all events, my name will remain. Inscribe it on a stone, and it will remain just as well. And think beyond Nicopolis. What memory of you will there be? But I shall have a golden wreath to wear. If you must have a wreath, get a wreath of roses and put it on. You will look more elegant. Above all, remember that the door stands open, but be not more fearful than children. But as they, when they, weary of the game, cry, I will play no more, even so, when you are in the like case, cry, I will play no more, and depart. But if you stay, make no lamentations. Number 45. Is there smoke in the room? If it be slight, I remain. If it grievous, I quit it. For you must remember this, and hold fast, the door stands open. You shall not dwell at Nicopolis. Well and good. Nor at Athens. Then I will not dwell at Athens either, nor Rome, nor at Rome either. You shall dwell in Gyria. Well, but to dwell in Gyria seems to me like a grievous smoke. I will depart to a place where none can forbid me to dwell. That habitation is open to all. As for the last garment of all, that is the poor body. Beyond that, none can do aught to me. This is why Demetrius said to Nero, You threaten me with death. It is nature who threatens you. And I will stop at number 46. So, I don't see or hear my one viewer in my chat. So, do we want to chit-chat about anything, or are we just cool to go ahead and seal up? While we're sealing up, feel free to go ahead and pop over to Twitch and give me a follow so you know when the next one's coming. Every Monday and Thursday, around 12:15, 12:30, for about roughly 30 minutes. And then, again, if anyone's on at the end, we'll sit and chit-chat about it if we have time, and if people want to. Other than that, feel free to hop over to YouTube. I'm going to be uploading all of these as they go through, so that way we have a good record of them. Subscribe there, sign up for the alerts, so if you happen to miss my stream, you're able to get the alert otherwise, and will be more capable of being undisturbed. I know with this book, at least, it's very heady and seems like it's talking in circles on itself. Feel free to shoot a message, either, however you wish to shoot me a message, and ask me to talk about it. Well, I'm totally happy to do a review session, so to speak, so that way we can clarify some of the things that he says, or some of the stuff's like, cool, I get that, but how does that really apply in my life? Questions about that, ask me that too. I'd be happy to help. Otherwise, I will bid you all a good rest of your Monday, and I will plan to see you guys on Thursday or whenever you see me. Be sure to also check in Friday. We're going to have a really long stream going Friday night and a Saturday, because we are planning to stay up all night and play for 24 hours straight, a variety of games. I think we're starting with Dungeons and Dragons. We've got some Among Us lined up, maybe Fortune Street, some other Switch things, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it should be a really fun time. And if you can't tune in, that's okay. I will be undisturbed. So until then, I wish for all of you guys to be undisturbed as well. Enjoy the weather. Yep, it's bright and sunny. Have a good rest of your day, good rest of your week, and be undisturbed.